Welcome to the Future Gains podcast. I'm super happy you're listening. I'm super glad to be here. And this is the podcast all about investing into the future. And particularly that future right now is AI, which we are in the AI gold rush right now. You don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out. And that's part of the reason I started this podcast. So, just to give you a little disclaimer right off the bat, I am not a financial advisor. I did not get my degree in finance. I do have my MBA, if that means anything to you. But I am simply a guy that has been talking with friends, that has been able to jump onto this AI train, has been diving into these companies to try to understand them, and has seen a awesome year. That's been super exciting. And I think that's just going to get more and more and more. We're literally at the beginning. And so I wanted to start this podcast to be able to find those companies. And honestly, I don't expect this podcast to do super well, to do a ton of numbers. But at the end of the day, what I want is to be able to find all these companies, and I want to dedicate week in and week out to be able to research these and find which ones are going to be the ones that are small now and are going to be huge in the future. Well, let me take you back to a time around February 2024 where I found this little company called NVIDIA. Okay. I was getting more into investing, trying to learn everything. And I found this company because everybody was talking about them. They had already gone from a share price, I think, of around $400, and they were about at 650 when I started looking into them. So they were on their way to 100% up. And people were telling me not to get in. It's already had its run. Don't touch it. But when I look into this company, and I see that, to dumb it down for you, if you don't know about NVIDIA, first of all, get away from the rock you're living under. Okay. Second of all, actually, you know what? That's why you're here. No offense. That's why you're here. I like it. So they basically make the chips that help AI to run in the simplest form. So ChatGPT needs data chips to be able to run its AI. So they make all the chips. And basically, there's no other competition. Yes, there's, companies like AMD, but they own like 80% of the whole market share. And there's so much money going into it. Just look at the top 6 companies that like Google, Meta. Look how much money they're putting into this AI. It's insane. And Nvidia is literally the during the gold rush, they have the shovels. That's the simplest way to put it. Okay. So I found Nvidia. I talked to my wife. I said, hey, we have to invest in this, and we have to put a good amount in here. And we put, what to us was a huge amount. Probably not advisable to put this much of your portfolio into Nvidia, but we did. And I'm glad we did, because we did it when it was at 650, and that was maybe about 700, and that was before the stock split, obviously. And so now we are currently up, I think, 60%, and which is amazing. It feels awesome. And so that got me super excited and got me more into AI stocks. I found a couple other stocks along the way. I'm sure you've heard of them now, SoundHound AI. I got in. Actually, I found them when they were at $2, based off a guy I follow. They went to $10, and I thought when they started to go down, I thought, oh, they'll go back up. So I started buying and buying and buying, and then they kept going down. So my average was 7, and they went down to 450. So I was down a lot of money. Okay, and then I also invested in Palantir, which they were pretty steady for a while. They were at, I think I jumped in at $24, and they went down to 20, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna keep going down. And then guess what happened? In the past few months, SoundHound is now up, I don't even know, 700%. They literally they're at $20 right now. They went all the way to $24. So that money that I was down on, I am insanely up on. Palantir went from $20 to they're at $80 now. And both these companies, that happened within the last few months. So some people think that they missed the boat when it comes to AI because they look at NVIDIA and they say, wow, NVIDIA already ran so much, which, by the way, they have a lot more room to run. But you did not miss the boat at all. Look at these companies that literally happened in the last 2 months that you could have been a part of. So that's what the goal ultimately of this podcast is, to find those next 2 companies. And you know what? We're going to find companies that we're confident in. And I personally am going to buy them and hold, because they're going to become the Metas, the Netflixes, the big companies of tomorrow. We're going to find them small today. If I can find a company that's going to become an Amazon when they're at $2 today, yeah, I think I'm going to get on that. Now, you might be wondering, why focus on AI so much, right? This is called the Future Gains podcast. Eventually, I'll probably talk about other stocks that aren't AI, but we're focusing so much on AI right now because, like I said before, we are in the gold rush. Like, this is literally something your kids are going to learn about in the future, is the AI gold rush. And my question to you is, do you want to be the one holding the shovel? Not the bag. You don't want to be the one holding the bag, but you want to be the one holding the shovel. Absolutely. That's my goal, is to be the one holding the shovel, digging the gold for the AI gold rush. Don't believe me? Think about it. Think about when ChatGPT came out. What was it, November 2022? Think about how much AI has changed in 2 years. It's insane. Go look up a video of a guy trying to eat spaghetti, an AI guy. Now look up an AI video. They're insane difference. AI is growing faster than anybody can comprehend. AI is in so many different areas now. Think about it. It's literally in healthcare, it's in schools, it is everywhere, and it's only going to keep going like that. This is a snowball effect, and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger. There's still time to jump on. There's a guy I follow called Dan Ives. He's an investor, and one thing he likes to say is that we're in the second inning of a 9 inning baseball game when it comes to AI. Or my favorite thing analogy he gives: we're at a party that goes till 4 a.m., but it's only 9:30 p.m. Okay, it is not near over. There's going to be times when the music stops, there's going to be awkward pauses, but the party's going to keep going. And we're not even near the end. So I'm telling you right now, do not feel like you missed out on AI, because you absolutely can get in there. But if you don't want to listen to stuff like this, if you don't want to do research, then yeah, you are going to miss out, and miss out on a lot of money. I guarantee it. Well, I can't guarantee it because I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. But I'm personally putting a lot of my own money into it. And my last point to why I think this is a huge deal is we haven't even really, when you think about it, we haven't seen monetary gain from AI, which a lot of people might think is concerning, right? A lot of this has been on hype. Obviously, Nvidia is a different story. They're making, I think, 100 billion a year. That's insane. So there's clearly money coming there. But a lot of these other or a lot of these other companies who are investing so much in AI aren't seeing a return yet. And so a lot of people are concerned that this is just like a bubble, right? When that first wave comes in, when they start seeing a ton of monetary return, it's going to be insane. It's going to be that's when the actual gold rush will start, when they start seeing how much money can be made off this. So I know a lot of people are concerned that this is going to be like when the internet came about with Cisco, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. I think this is going to be a lot different. Not saying all these companies are going to be amazing forever, but I still think we're in super early stages right now. Now, keeping all this in mind, there are definitely going to be some benefits to investing in AI, and there's going to be some major risk investing into AI, right? So, benefits are obvious. This is going to be a time that you can be able to make so much money, especially if you're buying and holding for a long time. We might have the opportunity as a generation to see constant consecutive years of growth in the S&P 500, in the stock market. We've already had 2 positive years over 20%, which hasn't happened in forever, and we could see 2 or 3 more years of that. Like, that's how powerful I think AI can be. So that's something that could set you up, especially if you're young, for your retirement. That could set you up in a big way to get a lot of money, early on. Now, some of the risk, obviously, is not every AI company is going to make it. There's a lot of people that are getting in there, a lot of companies that are getting in there. Some are going to fail. That's just how it is. And so, obviously, do your own research. Don't take anything I say as your solid foundation. I want you to do your own research and figure out stuff. I'm just looking to give you a starting point. And I'm treating this as me texting my buddies and say, hey, did you see Cheap Palantir? Did you see this news about SoundHound? That's what I want to treat this as. So I'm hoping I can help you grow. I'm definitely hoping I can grow with, through this. And my last thing too is, do not get too attached to any company. Now, hey, believe me, I'm struggling a little bit with this with Nvidia, because they've made me so much money. I love Nvidia. If I could get a tattoo of Nvidia, I just might do it. Okay. But you can't get too attached, because there's companies like that. And I'm not saying Nvidia is going to be like Cisco, but if I start seeing that there's bad signs with Nvidia, if they start getting a ton of competition, if all these big companies start making their own chips, if, all these things happen, I might start to be a little bit more concerned. I might start to keep a little bit of a closer eye on Nvidia and say, okay, if we get here, I might pull out. I'm not anywhere near that point right now, to be completely honest with you. And that's just me. That doesn't have to be you, but that's where I'm standing. So for this podcast, I am going to try to give you all the new AI companies that I find. I want to give you updates on the current ones. We'll go over NVIDIA. We'll do a deep dive into SoundHound. We'll do a deep dive into Palantir. We'll do a deep dive into the ones that you've never heard of that hopefully we can catch early on as well. And we'll talk about just how AI is changing certain industries. Where do we think it's going to go next? It's gone into software. It's gone into a couple different other things. It's a couple different derivatives from the beginning of NVIDIA. It's now going to outside of just the chips. And so we'll talk about all that. I'm going to have a guest on every now and again to be able to talk through those and have more of a conversation with it. So if you are interested in that, if you're interested in hopefully, no guarantees, making a lot of money with AI, I would love it if you like and subscribe. If you think if you enjoyed this episode or if you enjoy future episodes, please give this podcast 5 stars. It'll help it get out there, help me have more time to be able to do this because I would love to be able to put all my time into this. Unfortunately, I can't do that right now, but I am going to put as much time as I possibly can. So once again, thank you for listening. In episode 2, I'm going to dive more into my personal story and be able to give you, I'm going to be very transparent with you about how much money I started with, how much money I'm at in my Roth. I'll tell you what percentages I'm up in my stocks and what I currently have in my portfolio. And I'll share that all with you. If you'd rather just get straight to the AI stuff, I would encourage you to check out episode 3. That'll start jumping right into it. So again, appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the Future Gains podcast. The information provided on Future Gains is for informational educational purposes only. I am not a licensed financial advisor, and this content should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own research and consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.